Hey guys, welcome to my video. I'm going to quickly and efficiently show you how to do courier tasks to get anywhere from 120 to 155k sailing XP an hour or more using the Lunar, Rellekka, Etceteria ABA method, or LRE method for short. Now I know that name is a mouthful, but it's not too complicated once you understand the core premise behind it. Basically, you're going to be looking for ABA tasks that end in Lunar Isle, Rellekka, or Etceteria. And if you don't know what ABA means, it means you pick up a courier task at your starting location, port A, then you have to go to a different port to pick up the cargo, in other words, port B, and then you sail back to your starting location with the cargo, your port A again. And the reason that we choose ABA tasks is because they give double the XP compared to AB tasks. I'll explain a little bit more about that later in the video. So for now, let's get started with the requirements. So first off, you need 76 sailing to dock at Lunar Isle, but you really need 84 sailing to unlock 5 port tasks at once. Without 5 port tasks, you can still get over 100k XP an hour though. If you don't have level 76, you can still do this ABA method with Etceteria and Rellekka at level 65. You would just be getting a little bit less XP per hour. All 3 of these ports have quest requirements also. So Lunar Diplomacy for Lunar Isle, Fremenic Trials for Rellekka, and Royal Trouble for Etceteria. Your boat also requires an adamant keel, which requires 66 smithing and 59 construction. And this is for the crystal flecked waters near Prifddinas and Port Tyrus, both of which require completion of Song of the Elves to access. Next up, you'll need a teleport focused boat facility. So that requires 55 sailing and 49 construction, and this is to summon your boat to whichever port you're currently at, if your boat is not lost at sea. You'll also need level 56 magic to cast the summon boat spell. Next up, you'll need a way to teleport to Alderaan, so some options are Quetzals or fairy rings, but the fastest is a teleport to house spell if you have your house moved to Alderaan. You need this because Lunar Isle, Rellekka, and Etceteria all have ABA tasks that come from Alderaan or Sunset Coast, which is right beside Alderaan. And finally, you'll need the Sailor's Amulet to teleport to Deepfin Point. You won't be using this teleport often, but there is a small chance you don't get any ABA tasks to Alderaan or Sunset Coast, so usually the next furthest port that you get a task to is Deepfin. And now for some recommendations. So I recommend you build the highest level boat hull that you can. So Camphor and Ironwood actually have the same speed, so Camphor is enough. Rosewood is the fastest. It'll give you about 10 to 20% more XP per hour, but it's okay if you don't have that. They are pretty expensive, so if you want to cut down on costs, you can actually use a skiff and upgrade that to Rosewood instead of a sloop. It is also recommended to have the highest level mast and sails that you can build. This is a very minor increase in XP per hour. Camphor, Ironwood, and Rosewood all give the same acceleration bonus when you trim sails or use a wind mote. However, Ironwood and Rosewood last a little bit longer than Camphor, but really Camphor is enough, and that's what I used. Next up is having as many crewmates as you can on your ship. The more you have, the faster it is to move cargo to and from your ship. And if they have a deck handiness of 3 or 4, they can actually carry 2 crates at once. This is more of a quality of life thing and saves you a few seconds running back and forth on a dock moving cargo. And the best crewmates for this are Jobless Jim, Captain Sead, Cabin Boy Jenkins, and Jolly Jim, but the other ones will suffice. And the last thing I recommend is having 25 Horizons lure in your boat keg facility. This gives you a 2.5% boost to all sailing XP. You unlock Horizons lure by completing 70 charts across all oceans, and at the time of this video being released, that's completing all the charts in the game. 2.5% is a very minor increase that won't even be 4k XP an hour that you lose if you don't unlock this, but unlocking this itself gives you about 700k sailing XP, so still recommended. And basically your route looks like this. After you pick up your ABA tasks from Lunar Isle, Etceteria, and Rellekka, you teleport to Alderaan or Deepfin Point, then you go up to Fortis or Port Tyrus, Prifddinas, Port Roberts, Hosidius, then you go to Piscarilius if you have to, then you make your way back to Lunar Isle, then Piscatoris if you need to, then Rellekka, back to Etceteria. Every rotation, every lap is going to be a little bit different. You may need to stop at one port, Next lap, you might stop at a different port, but this is generally the direction you go. That definitely is a lot to take in, but it's really not that hard once you get started and get used to it. Now I'm going to show you some example runs so you get an idea of how it works. So I'm going to do this for an hour, and I'm going to track my time with the in-game timer along with Runelite. And I'm starting in Varrock and taking the spirit tree to Etceteria, and this is where I start my rotation. I have a bunch of things in my inventory, but the only things you really need are the captain's logbook to keep track of your tasks, a teleport to Alderaan, which I have house tabs, a Lunar Isle teleport, a teleport to Rellekka, which I have the Fremnik Sea Boots for, and lastly my rune pouch, which has runes to summon my boat. So here we see two ABA tasks, this Hosidius one and the Piscarilius one. So we'll grab these two and we'll ignore the AB tasks. And to highlight and shade out these tasks, you need the Port Tasks plugin in Runelite. To highlight, you just shift left click, and to hide, you go into the overlay settings in the Port Tasks plugin, and you check hide bounty tasks. So we grab two ABA tasks here at Etceteria, now we teleport to Rellekka, and we see what they have here. So here we see another Piscarilius ABA task, and we don't like to see that. We want to see Alderaan or Sunset Coast, but we don't always get that, so we work with what we got. And all three of our start and end ports can receive Piscarilius tasks. And finally, we're teleporting to Lunar Isle to see what they have for us, and we're hoping for that 10k XP Alderaan task. And there we go, we get it. The level 80 Alderaan to Lunar Isle task, and then an extra Port Roberts to Lunar Isle. So here you can see we have 5 ABA port tasks, which is perfect. Sometimes you only get 3. But now we're going to go and teleport to Alderaan. And now we summon our boat here to Alderaan. And say you didn't get 5 ABA tasks, you would look at the board here and usually pick out a few tasks here to fill up your task list. And this is where things kind of change every run. So say you started with a 3 ABA start, you can pick up both of these tasks here, highlighted ones. Say you started with a 4 ABA start, you only need 1, so you can grab that Alderaan to Prifddinas task, and once you get there, you can grab a Prifddinas to Lunar Isle task. But for this journey, our next stop is Port Roberts. So here we are at Port Roberts, just picking up our cargo and going to the next stop, which is Hosidius. And here's the Hosidius cargo. And finally, Port Piscarilius, and we have 2 pickups here. And now we have all 5 cargo deliveries, and we make our way back to Lunar Isle, then Rellekka, and finally Etceteria. And now we're back at Lunar Isle, and we're going to drop off our 2 tasks, our 2 deliveries. And before we leave, we have to pick up a few more tasks. Since we're still heading east towards Rellekka and Etceteria, we can pick up 1 task from Lunar Isle to Piscatoris. That's just an A-B task along the way. And because we're going to be restarting our rotation, we're going to pick up an ABA task from Deepfin Point to Lunar Isle. Because I can only have 5 max, I have to get rid of one of these Lunar Isle to Piscatoris tasks that I just grabbed. Don't forget to pick up the cargo for the task that you just picked up. And we're off to Piscatoris, dropping this off for a cheeky little 1600 XP. Dropping off 1 delivery for Rellekka. And then we run over to the task board. Don't forget, because we're continuing our rotation, we have to grab another ABA task. And you can see we got the Sunset Coast to Rellekka. That's a good one. And then we can also check to see if there's any AB tasks from Rellekka to Etceteria, which we also have here. And then, yeah, then we go to Etceteria next. And now we're back at Etceteria. You can see that whole lap, that whole rotation took us about 16 minutes. And if you're continuing your rotation, you just pick up another ABA task here, which we get the Sunset Coast to Etceteria, which is really good again. And then, see, now we have only 3 ABA tasks. So we teleport to Alderaan, and then on our way back, we pick up some tasks, some AB tasks. But that was basically 1 lap or 1 rotation of this Lunar Isle, Rellekka, Etceteria ABA method. So with this base knowledge, you can just keep repeating this cycle, and every lap, every rotation is going to be a little bit different. A different task here, different tasks there, different ports. But in general, you pick up the ABA tasks at Lunar Isle, Rellekka, Etceteria. You teleport to Alderaan, or deep fin point and you work your way back. And lastly, I'm going to show you the portal jump. For this, you use one of the Gwennith Glide portals to jump ahead in your route. This saves you about a minute, which is definitely worth using when you can. You use the black portal, which is just north of Prifddinas, and it jumps you to the north side of the Gwennith Glide. Here it is in action. So we skip this first portal here, and then we make our way up to the black portal, and then you just do a U-turn here into the black portal, and then you come out here, and there you go. And beware of this spot here when exiting the Gwennith Glide, because the crystal spikes can hit you when they spawn, and it'll knock you off the helm or your helmsman, and then you'll continue going straight and you'll be stuck in the Gwennith Glide. So to end this video off, I just want to show you my XP after 1 hour and 4 minutes. So just handing in this last delivery. And there you go, about 157k per hour. That's what Runelite's showing me. And during this hour, I was pretty attentive. I was watching the screen most of the time. You do have times where you can just kind of relax as your ship sails, but I wasn't really wasting any time. Again, I was using an ironwood hull, so with a rosewood, you could get 10 to 20% more XP. I also have the 2.5% XP boost from charting all the oceans. So if you don't have that, you can knock off about 4k an hour. And if you don't have access to 5 port tasks at once, then you can knock off another 20 to 40k XP an hour. But really, that's it. Now you can go off and start doing ABA port tasks. And there's a lot more intricacies and smaller details that you'll pick up as you go. And there's too much to explain in one video. So if you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment and I'll answer them and give some feedback or advice. But I hope you have a good rest of your day. So go get those sailing gains and have a good one. Cheers.